The girl discovered something disturbing. A cat had fallen into the pool and was struggling to get out, but she simply closed the curtains, pretending she saw nothing. She waited until the animal drowned, and then calmly told her father that there was a dead cat in the pool. Her father was startled and ran to pull the body out of the water. Emma pretended to be sad, but deep down she felt a strange satisfaction. That coldness was chilling. However, in front of others, she always seemed like a sweet and well-mannered girl. One day in class, a large bumblebee flew in. Her classmates were frightened, but she caught it with a glass, placed a piece of paper underneath, and then released it in front of everyone. The teacher praised her for her bravery and kindness. Everyone thought she was an exemplary student until her classmate Katie arrived with a new watch. Emma's gaze changed. Then she pretended to trip accidentally and knocked Katie down while running. While apologizing and helping her get up, she took advantage of the contact to steal the watch without anyone noticing. The teacher seemed to notice something strange. Emma began to feel uneasy. That night at home, she practiced smiles in front of the mirror again and again, making sure nothing would reveal her emotions. Not even her father David suspected anything. To him, she was a caring and exemplary daughter. Every year she received awards, but this time the Best Student Award went to Milo. Her smile froze. Inside, she boiled with jealousy. When she got home, her father tried to comfort her, but she congratulated Milo with apparent sincerity, which made her father even prouder. Afterward, Emma invited Milo to play hide and seek. The two went farther and farther away until they entered the forest. Deep inside, there was a cliff overlooking the sea. Milo began to feel scared. He wanted to go back, but Emma slowly moved toward him with an icy gaze as if she had already made a decision. Not long after, Milo disappeared. The whole town began searching for him. Emma watched from a distance, completely cold. Hours later, Milo was found at the foot of the cliff. He was no longer breathing. His mother collapsed in tears. Emma pretended to be afraid and hid in her father's arms. But when they returned home, she sat swinging her legs, almost laughing. Her father noticed something strange, but she said indifferently that the dead do not need compassion. Those words chilled her father. Even so, he tried to convince himself that perhaps children express grief differently. Sometime later, David hired a nanny named Chloe. She was young and very attractive. Emma watched her silently from behind the door. Outwardly, she was kind to her, but secretly kept an eye on her. She soon discovered that Chloe secretly entered her father's bedroom and even stole his sweets. It seemed she had other intentions. Emma said nothing. Instead, she used this secret to threaten her. Chloe was furious but had no choice but to give in. The next day was Milo's funeral. Everyone was devastated except Emma. Her face remained expressionless. At that moment, she realized for the first time that she was not like the others. But in truth, she didn't care much about emotions. Just then, Milo's mother mentioned the medal. It was the only award her son had ever won. She wanted to place it inside the coffin, but strangely, the medal had disappeared. David felt deep compassion. Emma also pretended to cry. He believed his daughter was sad, not knowing that she actually felt relieved that there was no evidence. To avoid trouble, Emma hid the medal under her bed. When her father went to pick up some toys, he almost discovered it. Emma suddenly appeared and startled him. The smile on her face was forced. She only showed it when necessary. The rest of the time, her expression was disturbingly cold. David began to grow suspicious. He looked through the photos from the ceremony and noticed that in all of them, Emma was staring at Milo's medal with intense desire reflected in her eyes. The next morning, the teacher showed up at the house with a lawyer. Milo couldn't swim and had always been afraid of heights. Naturally, there was no reason for him to go near the edge of a cliff alone. But on the day of the accident, someone claimed they had seen him with Emma. The teacher suspected something was off. She wanted Emma to help clarify what had happened. Emma, standing behind the door, suddenly changed her expression and turned to leave. Shortly after, she deliberately broke a piece of glass to fake an injury. Chloe saw everything. She was completely shocked by what she witnessed. The teacher decided to leave first while they cleaned the wound. David asked cautiously,
"Is there anything you want to tell me about that day?"
Nope.
David tried to test her. The teacher said she saw you. She's lying. Why would she lie? Because she can't stand me. She's never liked me. Maybe it's because I don't have a mom. Those words softened David instantly. Emma's mother had died during childbirth, and he had always carried guilt because of it. A 9-year-old girl. How could she possibly be involved in something like that? So he stopped suspecting her, but Chloe understood the act perfectly. She just chose not to expose her. She didn't want to confront Emma directly. Soon after, they saw the teacher's car parked in front of Milo's house. Chloe mentioned it on purpose. The teacher thinks it wasn't an accident. If the investigation continues, Emma could be questioned and might even face serious consequences. She even made up a terrifying punishment scenario and got Emma to believe it. Fear and resentment mixed together. Emma turned her attention to the teacher. Then she took a wasp nest from under the eaves and secretly placed it inside the teacher's car. The teacher drove off without noticing. During the drive, she panicked, lost control of the car, and crashed. she died on the spot. Meanwhile, Emma returned home as if nothing had happened, thinking everything was settled, not realizing that while she was gone, Chloe had searched her room. Under the bed, she found the medal, the key to revealing the truth. Chloe hung the medal on the lamp beside David's bed so he would see it as soon as he walked in. But at that very moment, Emma ran into the bedroom before anyone else. She spotted the medal instantly. Her face turned pale, but she reacted quickly. Taking advantage of her father's back being turned, she quietly took it down and hid it behind her. David suddenly turned around. "What are you doing? What do you have in your hand?" Under pressure, Emma had no choice but to show the medal, but she insisted she had no idea how it got into the house. Chloe calmly added, "I found it while cleaning under her bed." Emma shot Chloe a fierce look. A malicious thought crossed her mind, but when she looked back at her father, she instantly put on an obedient expression. She said the medal did belong to Milo, that she had just admired it, and that he had lent it to her briefly so she could try it on. Then Milo accidentally fell off the cliff. She had been so frightened that she decided to hide the medal. David's expression grew heavy. He clearly didn't believe her, but she was his daughter. In the end, he had to accept her explanation. He returned the medal to Milo's mother. Seeing how nervous Emma was, Milo's mother thought she was still scared and even thanked her for returning it. Not long after, David learned that the teacher had died in a car accident. He also noticed that the wasp nest under the eaves was gone. So many coincidences in a row began to raise his suspicions. So he made an appointment with a psychologist. He wanted to know if there was something wrong with his daughter. Emma agreed on the surface. When she saw the doctor, she immediately changed her demeanor. When talking about Milo, she showed sadness and confusion. When talking about happy things, she seemed innocent and cheerful. Exactly what adults wanted to see. She played the role perfectly. The psychologist didn't detect anything unusual and concluded that everything was normal. Only then did David finally feel at ease. After spending some time together, the nanny began to realize that the girl in front of her was not as simple as she seemed. Even so, she didn't bother exposing Emma's true nature. Because she already had her eyes on the girl's father, she wanted to be with him no matter what. She made a deal. In exchange, she would turn a blind eye to everything Emma had done before, but asked that Emma not interfere with her plan to become her stepmother. It was that very sentence that made Emma want to kill her on the spot. That night, Matt worked late and didn't come home. The nanny searched the entire house for Emma, but found no trace of her. When she reached the storage room in the backyard, she fell right into the trap. She knew Emma wasn't as innocent as she looked, but she never imagined the girl was worse than a demon. The fire engulfed the entire storage room in an instant, and the next second, the nanny was completely surrounded by flames. Emma appeared at the window, watching everything without a single expression, coldly observing as the nanny burned alive without any mercy. By the time the father finally got home, the police had already sealed off the entire storage area. The fire was put out quickly, but the nanny had been reduced to a charred body. Matt looked at his unharmed daughter, yet his heart could not find peace. He was overwhelmed with grief.
It's okay, Daddy. Nothing happened to me.
After everything was settled, recalling a series of strange incidents that had happened recently, Matt went to his daughter's room to uncover the truth. He simply couldn't believe that all these recent events were just accidents. In fact, he had already suspected it before, but never had the courage to face the truth. The nanny's death forced him to confront that horrifying reality.
You hurt Milo.
Didn't you?
He was gonna tell me that I took his medal. I didn't mean to hurt him. I pushed him. He fell. Kept yelling when he couldn't swim. I didn't believe him. He always over-exaggerated. I'm so sorry, Daddy.
When Emma confessed with her own mouth that she had killed Jim, Matt completely broke down. After calming himself a little, he continued asking about the deaths of the teacher and the nanny. At that moment, Emma became very agitated, shouting that she had never liked that nanny, not even a little.
She stole pills from me. I watched. She fooled you. You weren't gonna do anything about it.
So you did it. Isn't that right?
Someone had to.
After learning the whole truth, Matt was completely lost, not knowing what to do. He knew very well that the teacher's death was also connected to his daughter, even though he knew he should tell the police everything. As a father, he simply didn't have the courage to turn Emma in.